Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at uranium energy. It is time for another update, and today we will be discussing the attempt to have formed a bottom within this area and started the next wave to the upside. But before we get there, I would like to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we are basically still tracking this idea of a possible series of 1-2 setups and then a third wave that could be unfolding. Now I have to say this is becoming less and less my preferred scenario for the large time frame. I am exploring the possibility of an extension within this wave 1 to the upside, and that is mainly due to the fact that we aren't building an impulse within this area. That is very unlikely at this point, because it could really only work out within a very large series of 1-2 setups that would have unfolded here. So something like a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, then another 1-2 here, and then even this is towards the end of the support zone that could be tracked for this interpretation. So it is much more likely that it is a diagonal pattern instead that is unfolding here, where we have a 1-2-3 movement that is complete. We are looking here for the wave 4 correction and then a fifth wave to the upside. At this point, we are still holding the area of support relevant for the idea of a 1-2 setup within this area, but it is not a high probability interpretation for me, where I would much rather prefer to be tracking, and I am heavily favoring the idea of a wave 4 unfolding in the white scenario instead, where we have the area of support between the $13.7 all the way down to the $9 level for us to hold and still follow through to the upside in a wave 5 in an ABC structure. With that said, at this moment, or in this moment, we are still holding the area of support in blue as well, where so far we had only a wick below it and an open below the area of support that actually recovered extremely quickly within the first few minutes. So nothing too significant to invalidate the idea, the possibility of this being a valid scenario, or even affecting the probabilities due to the support zone area. The probabilities aren't affected because we broke below here, that we had some touches below the area of support for this 1-2 setup. The probabilities are affected instead by the unrealistic expectation of having this large amount of series of 1-2 setups that have formed so far. And considering even from the larger time frame perspective, we also are tracking a very large amount of 1-2 setups. So at this point, it is much more likely that we are going to build the diagonal pattern in the white scenario, and it will have some implications for the larger time frame as well, but we will not be discussing those right now. We will wait for the larger structure to actually play out, or not the larger structure, the internal structure to actually play out before we determine how the larger structure is affected by this movement to the upside. And even within this interpretation, it didn't prevent us from tracking a very high amount of successful trade setups, where even within this structure, just within this structure to the upside, we had like 10 or even more trade setups that have had great rewards, and not even only the reward potentials, but very low risk compared to the potential reward. Now, with that said, in this area, we are tracking the correction right now. We are looking for the bottom, and I have to say it is still very possible that we may have indeed bottomed. And in the previous video, we were actually looking for further extensions lower, where we had this correction, this interpretation that we could still face a wave 4 and a fifth wave to be unfolding to the downside. And it played out perfectly, but we still didn't manage to create a 5-wave structure to the upside afterwards. We only have a 3-wave pattern, so we are still under pressure of extending lower within this larger ABC structure that we are tracking internally here. Now, so far we have been tracking this movement, this wave C to the downside, as an impulse, and I do have to say, within the idea of an impulse, I don't really believe we can really look for further extensions unless it would really be within a 1-2 of this wave 5, which it would imply that the wave 5 would extend very low within a third, fourth, and the fifth afterwards, which doesn't really work for me. The interpretation doesn't seem likely at all, in my opinion. So I have to say, if we are to actually extend further down, I would have to consider that this pattern is developing at this point within an ending diagonal in the wave C, meaning that within this wave 4, or sorry, within this wave 5 to the downside, we have indeed completed this pattern. This pattern still works very fine, but this could have been then only a wave A. So since we only have a 3-wave structure up, I am looking still for the high risk of extending lower, so it could be something like an ABC pattern which could be unfolding. With that said, I'm not excluding the possibility that we may have bottomed, but we only have this 3-wave structure up. Now that could mean that it could be a wave A up or a wave 1 as part of a leading diagonal. Both counts are applicable, and we will be tracking also the relevant areas of resistance for such a case. Now of support, the certain relevant areas of support for such a case. Now, from the resistance perspective, well, I'm looking here at the $12.4 level. If we manage to break above that, well, it would be a pretty good hint that this structure, this correction, this extension within the wave 5 is not going to happen. And even if we push lower further afterwards, it would be probably outside of this movement to the downside that we were tracking previously, or yeah, even right now. But as long as we hold here below those levels, and so far we got rejected at those levels, we only had a small wick above it, we can still be looking for something like an ABC to still be unfolding to the downside. And in that case, we can even track internally the count within the wave C. But before that, I would like to present the idea that, yeah, this could have been just an ABC, or yeah, even a wave 1. Doesn't matter exactly, that we could already track to the upside, and I could be looking here for support instead in a wave 2 correction. And yeah, let's actually track this as a 1-2. I believe it could fit actually better for the potential that we could be tracking in this count to the upside in the end. And if we actually look at the support levels, well, we have also touched just below the 78.6% retracement at the $10.5 level. Yeah, we had a wick below it, the same as we had the wick above it in the resistance levels, which is suggesting to me that there isn't necessarily a decision in the market. There is still a lot of uncertainty with what is happening, and the bears are struggling to get another low to still take the prices lower, but the bulls are also determined to start the uptrend already. So in that case, I am waiting to see which one of them breaks first to the downside, though I do have to say there is probably a bit more impulsiveness going on, where in this wave C in yellow, I could argue that we may have something like a 1-2, then a third wave down, a fourth wave up, and then honestly it is getting a little bit more difficult in this area. I would probably have to be tracking this fifth wave to the downside in an ending diagonal in a 1-2. Yeah, 1-2, and then the third wave could still be unfolding. I won't go too much into the details, it is after all in a very short time frame, but I could see a few different ways in which this pattern to the downside could unfold in a wave C, but in none of them I am expecting too much of a push further down, especially since we did get quite a nice reaction already when we touched here the 78.6% retracement at the $10.5 level in white. Yeah, we did get a few weeks below it, but we had already a significant reaction to the upside. And I won't be tracking internal areas of resistance within this push down, but I will give you an ideal target for the wave C that we could be tracking here to the downside, which is the 100% extension of the wave A, the $9.6 level, yeah, as you can see here. And that could be a level that we may be heading towards in this wave C if it is to play out, but for now I am waiting for more clarity. It is best to wait, to be patient and sit on the sidelines for now, because there is no confirmation of either direction we are going in, and we are waiting to break the resistance or the support levels for that to happen. So for resistance, the $12.4 level, for support, the $10.5 level, for the indication that those scenarios are likely to break. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.